Is it about deep cave diving that holds such a fatal attraction? For Dave Shaw, it was a challenge he could not turn away from. Diving 271 meters below the surface of Bushmansgat Cave, one of the world's deepest freshwater diving holes. And it was while setting a world record there last year that he discovered the body of another diver, Deandrea, who died 10 years ago. And so Shaw returned to recover the body. The mission was successful, but ultimately it cost him his life. Producer Charlene Stanley brings you his story right from when it first began. And tonight we bring you exclusive, never-before-seen footage of Shaw's last moments before succumbing to his watery grave.
28 October 2004. 50-year-old Australian diver Dave Shaw sets a new world record. Using a rebreather system, he has gone 271 meters down to the bottom of Bushmansgat in the Northern Cape. And he brings news from the deep. He has found the body of Deandrea, a young diver who drowned here 10 years ago.
Wasn't very steep, and when I saw the body over on to my left, I thought, oh, well, that's the end of going deep. So just tied my line to it, and by then I was, well, we won't discuss that. So I just left my line. I would guess that the body is between 15 and 20 metres from the line. Yeah,
Shaw makes a promise to Drea's parents. He'll bring them their son's body. He's going back down. Deandrea had a passion for life. Only 20 years old, he chased all his boyhood dreams. He was a motor racer, combat shooter, and a cave diver. He died after presumably suffering a deep water blackout during a dive at Bushmansgat. 10 years later, his parents are still struggling to come to terms with his death. They gladly accept Dave Shaw's offer.
I mean, a lot of people say, what do you want with it? It's a bag of bones. To me, it's not a bag of bones, it's my son. I don't care what's inside that wetsuit. To me, that's not important. It's my son.
Deepcave.com is the personal website of Dave Shaw. An airline pilot, but his true passion, cave diving. The site tells the story of a technical diving expert, a dedicated explorer, a man who won't back down from a challenge.
I might be wrong, but I think he's the only guy on the planet at this stage with the true ability to do the recovery.
Yeah, great to see you.
Yeah.
Great to see you.
My wife, Maria.
Lovely to see you. How was the trip? Have a good trip, did you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect, and yours?
I find myself back in this beautiful location in January 2005 to repeat the world record dive in an attempt to recover Deandrea's body so that the Drea family can finally put closure to this very sad chapter in their lives.
Anybody at the top want to raise up?
The recovery attempt is a massive operation. The help of police divers and the Defence Force have been called in.
Please, divers, you've got 10 minutes. That means you've got 7.
It takes days to prepare the site. Specialised medics are on standby.
When I first discovered him, I tried to lift him up, but found that he was very firmly stuck in the mud. Well, not actually his body, but his tanks that were on his back, they were in the mud. So the first thing I have to do when I reach him is remove him from his tanks. When I place him into a body bag, what we've done is designed a body bag. This is it here, and I'll be taking this down with me and feeding Dion into the body bag. You'll notice that there's some netting at the bottom. The reason for the netting is so that any flow of water goes straight through the bag and doesn't create a sea anchor effect and make it difficult for me to bring him back to the surface. 13 minutes later. Yeah, okay, that's good.
A dive plan coordinates Shaw and his support divers' actions down to the last second. Long-time friend and highly qualified diving instructor Don Shirley helps with the planning.
If anyone falls out of that.
A camera in a specially designed underwater housing will be mounted on Shaw's headgear.
Yes, it'll be a world first getting footage from this sort of depth, so we'll be interested to see if it works or not.
The big day dawns. The dive plan kicks in. Shaw's descent will be fast. Following a pre-installed drop line, he should reach the bottom of the cave within 13 minutes. He'll then follow the thin cave line he had previously attached to Dreya's body. He has 5 minutes to put the body into the body bag. Following the cave line again, he'll move back to the drop line with Dreya's body. He'll then slowly make his way up, handing the body to Don Shirley, who'll be waiting at 220 meters. Shirley will pass the body on to other divers waiting at different levels. Meanwhile, Shaw will continue to slowly ascend, resting and changing gases along the way to prevent getting decompression sickness. Support divers will meet him at different depths. They'll bring him food and liquids and check his condition. About 12 hours after entering the water, he'll be back on the surface. That was the plan. An hour and a half into the dive, and an ominous message reaches the surface.
You've read the slate?
Yes.
Okay. No Don or Dave.
Shaw and Shirley have failed to meet the support divers, waiting for them roughly halfway to the bottom. It turns out that when Shaw did not meet him at 220 meters as planned, Shirley had gone down to look for him. But at 250 meters, he encountered problems.
Okay, we've got any info.
Then, another message.
Okay, Don's okay, Dave.
Don's
okay.
Dave's not coming.
Dave's not coming.
Shirley had seen a light in the distance. It wasn't coming up. He had done what he could to get to shore. Now an important diving rule applied. Look after yourself first.
Don's computer's stuffed completely. Yeah.
The focus shifts to Don Shirley. He's showing signs of vertigo and has started vomiting underwater.
Doc says if he's breathing, don't bring him up straight away. We need to make a decision. If he's not breathing, then bring him up.
12.5 hours after entering the water, he's brought to the surface.
You can't get his shivering too much.
Disorientated and weak, but alive.
You happy with that?
Okay, he's away. I'm handing over.
He's stabilized and immediately taken to a decompression chamber.
Dave's wish was to stay, if he died diving, to stay where he was. And I feel that Dave should stay where he is. I'm sure he would like the camera to come back so we could see what were the last moments and the circumstances of it. But I think we should leave his body where it is.
I also have to accept because I've got no choice. But in my heart still, it's not what I want.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost.
3 days later, it's time for final goodbyes.
Have a good rest, my mate.
And time to pack up. The thick shot line that runs all the way to the bottom is pulled up. It's then that they make a startling discovery.
Sy hande aan ransel, beslis. Die helm met die cameras nog aan. Ja, die onderarm hang nog gedink. Dit lyk soos 'n twin pack. So dit lyk definitief vir die hele liggaam met dit lyk vir die hele liggaam. Maar
in what seems like the greatest coincidence, both bodies are recovered. A mere 20 meters from the surface.
Dave was stuck against the ceiling and Dion was dangling. Actually, the cave line, it's a cave reel that we use, the line, was caught up in Dion's body, all over his body, and Dave's torch caught the line. And that was the only thing holding Dion to Dave.
As the drop line was pulled up, the two bodies came with. The 10-year-old corpse of Dion Dreyer trailing behind Shaw. In the end, he did bring Dreyer up. He had kept his promise. It forms a stark contrast. Dion Dreyer's old-fashioned rusty twin-pack cylinders, Dave Shaw's sophisticated rebreather. But all eyes are on one piece of equipment. Shaw's camera, still perfectly intact.
We've actually viewed the tape in every